Ding, we're live. We are live and it's Tuesday. Live and it's Tuesday. Hello. I'm just getting my bearings because I've had a whole lot of lessons today. It's been a really great teaching day, even though I'm very tired and very glowy. But I'm feeling really good. I've had a lot of great sessions, a lot of good conversations, mostly around just like not letting your comparison dictate what you're trying to do with your voice. Hey, how you doing? So I've had a lot of conversations today with my students about not trying to fit your voice into the song, the box that we put the song in, but bringing the song to you, right? So we don't have to sing an Adele song the exact same way Adele does. We don't have to make our voice do something that doesn't feel doable right now. We don't have to sing notes quite as long as a Broadway singer could, because they've had years and years and years of training. And even if you have as well, that doesn't mean your voice is the same, or that you've practiced in the same way as them. Yeah, if you're working on something particular with your voice, let me know. I can talk about it. But like, I really like to remind singers, like, you don't have to compare yourself. You don't have to have the recording that you're used to hearing of a certain song as the be all end all of what the song should be. You can make something your own just by allowing yourself to take away the pressure of these lines that we've drawn for ourselves about what a song needs to sound like. Honestly, like when I have beginning students, that's really what I have to hammer home for them is like, your voice is what it is. And if we try and make it something that it's not, that's where all the extra tension and pressure and over efforting and over manipulation is going to come from, is when you're trying to be somewhere you're not. And so I think it's the most important thing to start to realize, like, okay, I want to do this song, but I have to turn off that switch in my head that is going to judge me every single time I don't sound like Adele, right? Every single time I don't sound like Stevie Wonder. Like, the humongous talents of the world, that's what we base good singing off of. But the fact that we've never heard our voice do certain things doesn't mean that we're a worse singer. We just haven't practiced and trained. It is all about training. It's just brain training and muscle training, right? That's what singing is. It's just like anything else you do. It's just like learning math or learning how to lift weights. There's so much pressure that we put on that before we're ready for the pressure, because of how we've been taught to look at singing our whole lives. Because, we have these TV shows that we watch, like American Idol and The Voice, and things that make us have an unrealistic view of what singing should look like in everyday people, right? Not to say that if you're watching, you're just an everyday singer, because you're probably not. You had to learn to like your voice and find ways to make things work for you. Exactly. And this is what is such a struggle for so many singers. Like, they feel like they have to come in and within a month or two, like, oh man, I've been doing the warm-ups all the time. Hey, Belle, how you doing? I've been doing the warm-ups constantly. Like, why don't I sound like Taylor Swift yet? Like, it just doesn't sound as good. I'm like, yeah, because you're not Taylor Swift. Like, you're never going to be Taylor Swift. I'm sorry to tell you. But we have to kind of get around that expectation, especially if you're here. You're probably a perfectionist. You're probably a doer, an overdoer, right? And so we've put all of this expectation on ourselves, like, and we put our own voice into the same judgment system as we put all those people on American Idol and The Voice and stuff. But that is unrealistic and super harmful to put yourself into through that same ringer. right? And baritone, bass, so higher songs made you feel like less than a singer. Less than as a singer, yeah, totally. So learning what you're talking about has helped me so much. For sure. Learning where your voice range sits, even if it's not where your range is going to be forever, like you can extend your range if you want to, but everybody's voice has a limit, right? Everybody's chest voice has a limit, so not everybody can belt as high as other people. I had to learn that. Like, I want to be a Dina Menzel level belter, but I don't think my voice was built to do that. I'm much more of a soprano, and that's okay. So I'm not going to try and do all these belty songs, or I'm going to take it down a little so that the belty is in my belting range while I work on my belt, so that it feels a little more doable and natural. So I'm not straining every time I try and hit those high notes. So I'm not going, ha, right? So we want to bring the song to you, is what I'm saying. So whether that means paying for some sheet music that is a couple keys lower, or finding a friend who plays piano to record a karaoke version for you of something that's just a little bit higher, of a song that you really like, of a song that maybe was written for somebody of a different gender than you. Like, make it work for you. You don't have to force yourself into doing something. Especially if you're just beginning to become friends with your voice, if you're just learning how your voice works, where your range ends, where your bridge is, how to navigate that bridge, even what chest voice feels like, what head voice feels like, what's actually happening in your voice. As you're learning all these things, it's the most important time to take that comparison lens off and try and sing something that is not right for you, or trying to sound like somebody else, because it's just not going to happen. And that is okay. Like, just because you don't sound like Adele or Taylor Swift right now does not mean you're less of a singer. Like, I cannot stress this to people enough, especially like younger kids. They have seen all these shows and they're like, I really want to do that. I really want to go sing. But it's really hard for me to tell them and for them to hear that there's a lot of work that comes with being a singer. Like Taylor Swift, I know she started young, but she probably had voice lessons for many, many years before she even started to go sing out in front of people. She was training her voice. And even if she was really talented from when she was a little kid, everybody has to learn how to use their voice in a better, more sustainable, more efficient way. So even if you are one of those people that had to learn how to sing on pitch, or that is still learning how to sing on pitch all the time, it's okay. You don't have to put yourself into the same box and through the same judgment as we put the big stars in the world, right? You are where you are, and you're probably at the very beginning of your journey, because these people that you see on TV have been going through all this stuff their entire lives. You just didn't see any of it, right? You didn't see them when they were 9 starting to take voice lessons. You just saw them break out and automatically the world's loved them. Like, oh my God, your voice is so amazing. Like, the fact is that nobody's just born with that. Like, very few people are born with a voice like that. So all of these people have been singing. I saw a video of Olivia Rodrigo singing when she was like 7. Okay, I will admit she was amazing. And that is very young, but I can guarantee you she had already been taking voice lessons for a couple of years at that point, just based on how well she knew how to navigate her voice, right? So don't judge yourself against little kids. Don't judge yourself against huge stars. Just give yourself what you need. That's what I'm saying, Give yourself what you need, whether that's lowering the key of a song, whether that's choosing a different song that maybe feels a little more accessible for you right now, instead of pushing yourself to level 100 when you're only at level 2, because from what we know about the mind and the nervous system, this is the key. It's not just about like, hey, stop judging yourself, stop comparing. Like, it's easy to say, but not easy to do. But when we know what's happening in the mind and the nervous system, it becomes a lot more understandable. So like, one of the things that I've learned recently that is the most important is that your nervous system reaction to things And in the singing world, it's a hard run, a big belty note, a song that feels hard, or just you mess up and your gremlin starts to go, what are you even doing? Why are you even trying to sing this song? Like it starts to get all attitudey and starts to try and protect you. That's all it's doing. It's protecting you from taking risks and getting hurt. So when that starts to come in, you can know that it is just your nervous system responding to stress, right? So whether it's coming from inside the house or from the outside, if you get a piece of feedback on your voice that feels a little harsh, that can be perceived as a threat. And so your nervous system starts to go. Maybe you start to get a little sweaty. Maybe your hands start to get clammy. Maybe your jaw starts to tighten. And of course, that's going to make singing harder. And so we don't want to fall down that feedback cycle of like just negative thoughts about yourself over and over again. But what we can do is we can notice, okay, my nervous system is activated right now. I am dysregulated. I'm responding to stress, and it's not my fault. Number one thing to remember. If you want to know more about this nervous system stuff, I'm learning so much from Muscle Music, which is Ruby Rose Fox. You can follow her at Muscle Music _ on here. The number one thing she says is, it's not your fault. Your nervous system is going to do what it's going to do. It's okay. We love our nervous system because it keeps us safe. But we have to know that it's going to come in when we have perceived stress, right? So if you have a mess up moment, which we all do, all of us do all the time, your nervous system is going to start to kick into gear and be like, get me out of here. Get us out of here. This is bad, 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 bad. And so what you have to do is start to notice when those happen. And there's techniques you can follow to come back into regulation state, right? You can put your hand on your chest, grab your wrists, give yourself a little hug, easy deep breathing, plant your feet into the ground, do a little muscle contraction, planking, just to get your nervous system back into a state of like, okay, we're not going to die. If you're on stage and singing, a little hard to do, but you can do all of these things and bring the audience along with you. But I think the most important thing to remember is that you're not less of a singer because you have this stress response, right? If you mess up, you're not less of a singer. Literally every singer ever messes up all the time. I had a show the other day, forgot words completely, called it out, said I forgot the words. Oh my God. And then I kept going. My nervous system got a little worked up. Eventually, I was able to bring myself back down and had a great old time as I was smoothing out into the rest of my set. Remember, great singers are not perfect singers. Even Taylor has bad days. Isn't that the truth? Yeah, we all do. Everybody does. Somebody who's been singing on stage every day for the last 10 years has bad days. We're human, right? So we have to allow ourselves a lot more grace than most of us give ourselves. Like, especially if you're a perfectionist, if you're an overthinker, you have any kind of anxiety, like we just automatically, our default is to go, I'm a bad person. I'm a bad singer. I'm the worst. I shouldn't ever sing again. And that's a nervous system response. It's our gremlin coming in and going, are you sure you want to do this? This feels dangerous. It feels outside of our comfort zone. Don't you want to give up now? And you have to be the one that's in charge and be like, no, you know what? I love this. I'm sick of not doing the thing I want to do. And I'm going to give my body what it needs, which is the feeling of safety. And from that easy, more regulated place, I'm going to keep going. And I'm going to say, F you, gremlin. I don't need to listen to you right now because I know you're just saying your usual stuff on the same old argument over and over again. And I know that I'm in charge here. You are not in charge of me, right? You can say that to your gremlin. And this is why I have people create separate personas for their gremlin. Like, actually visualize, what do they look like? Are they a little purple fuzzy rabbit looking thing? What do they look like for you? What does it feel like for you? Is it just a big blob, a big, gross looking blob? What is its name? Mine's name is George. It's a little green guy that sits on my shoulder and just yells in my ear. Most of the time George is an asshole and he doesn't listen, and he doesn't go away when I tell him to go away. So I have to get a little violent sometimes, and so I have to go click and send George away because he's going to do what he's going to do. That's his job. George is very good at coming back and reminding me that I'm not good enough. But what I can do is choose to say, you know what? It's okay that I messed up. I am alive. I'm here. I'm okay. I can keep going, and I'm going to remind myself, remind my body, remind my nervous system that I'm safe and I'm okay. I'm still a person. I'm a good person. I'm a good singer, and continue on with my day, with my set. So all of these things are things that you can work on to help you prepare for moments where you're going to be nervous, like performances or anything where you have to put yourself out there, like job interviews, hard conversations with loved ones. Like, these are all situations where your nervous system is going to get worked up because it's scary to do these things as a human. Even, singing, posting videos on Instagram used to be a very terrifying thing for me. And so I would talk myself through it, be like, I watched the video, I approve, I like what I did. And then I have to just deep breath through pushing the button. Go. Whatever I needed to do to get that gremlin out of my face and just be like, you know what, I'm doing this anyway because I'm in charge. My nervous system is going to do what it's going to do. It's going to get flustery. That doesn't mean I'm less of a person because I'm scared to do this. It's a totally normal thing to be scared. I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to do it while I'm scared. And keeping in mind that you don't have to be somewhere you are not is always the thing I always come back to, right? Like, I'm going to post this video and I know it's imperfect. I know that I had this little waver in one note. I was slightly off pitch on that one note, but you know what? It's not the end of the world. It's okay. I'm going to post it anyway because I know that I am where I am. And I know that trying to be further ahead than where I am is just like dragging myself through the mud for no reason. It's giving me more stress than I need in any given day, Yeah, exactly. That's what the challenge is all about. And I'm so glad you're doing it because, yeah, bum notes and all. Who cares at the end of the day, right? I mean, you may not go viral, but that's not the whole point of the challenge. The whole point of the challenge is to get you one step out of your comfort zone every day for just a little bit. And then posting on Instagram is going to feel like nothing at the end of this. You're going to be like, oh, I did it for 30 days. Let's do 30 more. Let's do 60 more. Let's do it every single day for the next 5 years. Why not? And then it becomes less of a big deal, becomes less of a threat to your nervous system. So you'll find your actual body systems are getting more used to it. Doesn't become so much of a scary, nervous, sweaty thing anymore. That's the case with everything. It's just for some of us, singing has so much weight because we value it so much. We value good singers and good artists and professional sounding things. So yeah, that's what I have to say today. Give yourself some grace. Give yourself some slack as much as you can. Just take the one step out of your comfort zone circle a little bit every day. And what you're doing is you're just training your body, you're training your mind to survive through that. You're just giving yourself more and more evidence that you survived, bringing a song into a different key for your voice is just more evidence that, yes, I can sing this song. I was just trying to put myself into an impossible situation, giving yourself that grace to say, no, this key is not right for my voice. I'm going to sing it in a different key. And then you're going to sound awesome. And you're going to give your body more and more evidence that you can sing and sound good and hit the notes that you want to hit. And it's just positive feedback cycle now. So yeah, there you go. Thanks for hanging out with me. Appreciate you. I will be posting more in February about my next Vocal Magic cohort that is coming. It's a little, I don't know, I don't want to say easier because it's still a commitment, but it's a little more accessible this time. Little different coordination of how we're going to go through the 6 months, but we're still going to go through the 6 months together and do stuff like this. Nervous system talks. We're going to talk about gremlins. We're going to talk about getting to know our voice. We're going to talk about how to give ourselves grace as singers. We're going to talk about the actual anatomy. We're going to talk about the systems. We're learning exactly how the voice works on all the levels, right? Physical, emotional, mental, spiritual sometimes. We go through it all, which is why I call it vocal magic, because you are creating the magic by being best friends with your voice, by knowing your voice, by learning to trust your voice and finding that freedom in there to do whatever the heck you want to do with your voice. So stay tuned in February. DM me if you're curious, if you want to get on the wait list. I'm pretty sure this version will go real quick. So it's still limited. It's just not teeny tiny cohorts. It's just slightly bigger cohorts, but still working on showing yourself, showing up in front of other people as a singer. And that can be a scary thing, but this version is a little more accessible in that way as well. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say today. I'll see you next week, which will be almost February, which is nuts. I also have a single coming out on February 2nd. It's called Forgot to Ask. If you're not following me on Spotify, please go do that, because then you get it first. It's just Sarah Jelly, SARA, no HJELLEY. And yeah, thanks for being here. Appreciate you. All right, I'll see you soon.